Hello, Jungle Explorer here, and today I'm going to talk about repairing little electric motors. What I have here is a little on-demand pump by Shurflo made by Pinter. I use this in my greenhouse for my watering system, and it's a high-use element because it goes through thousands of gallons of water a week. And it's a pressure sensitive device, so it turns on and off and on and off as the pressure lessens and increases and stuff. So it's quite an expensive little motor, and it stopped working. Now in that case, most people would just say, you know, well, I gotta buy a new one. But think about it, this part right here was working. There's a lot of stuff, so why buy a whole new pump if you can repair the old one, right? We live in a society where everything just throw away and buy a new one, but you know, if you just take a little time, you don't have to be an expert. I'll say right here, I am not a small electric motor repair person. I've never gone to school to do this, but if you're not daunted by the task, if you're like, oh, I can't do it, then you're not going to be able to do it. But here's the deal, if you're gonna throw it away anyways, why not try to fix it? I mean, what do you got to lose? So break out some tools, get over your fear of the unknown, and dive in to fixing things, and you'll find out that things are a lot more simpler to fix than you actually thought. So anyways, the first most important thing you want to do when repairing something that you've never opened before and you have no experience, just about everybody has a smartphone. You don't have to have a smartphone to do this, but the main thing is take pictures as you go along. Now I've already opened this up, obviously, and I'm going back through this to show you how to do it. But so you want to take a picture, and each step of the way, as you take things off, you're going to want to go along. So again, this is the Shurflo 2088 594 water pump, on-demand water pump here. So it's a fresh water pump. So I'm using a 5/16 socket. You know, nuts are going to be different. You just find which one you want, and take that out there. Ground wire is connected here, so you need that. Make sure you have the tools you need. Now, different motors are going to come apart differently. This is the outside casing. It has nothing to do with the motor. Almost all electric motors are pretty much very similar. They operate based off of the same system. So as you take things apart, you're going to want to watch your sequence. Now my things are falling apart here, so I'll go ahead and put them back together because I've already had this apart. So anyways, I know exactly the order that they go in. Now I've pulled that off. Now if you look inside here, you can see there's the motor, there's the windings. That's okay. That's not the problem with this electric motor. What the problem here are these things. Now these are called brushes. They're made out of carbon, and they slide around the Arbiter, this thing right here. If you can see that, trying to get some light in there, the Arbiter, and that's what makes the contact, and the electricity, it drives electricity to here to power the whole system, and that's what you have to have. Now if you see over here, this one right here has plenty of carbon left, but this one has run out. It's almost right here. I don't know if you can see it very well. There's a little copper shunt here, the wire that connects to the shoe or the brush here, and this has gotten short and it's worn out, so it's not actually making contact. So I've got to replace this thing. Now the question is, well, how do you replace this? I mean, where do you buy that part? Well, the truth is these motors were not designed to be repaired, so you can go to the manufacturer There's a website and look at all this documentation, and they're not going to give you an option to buy that because they don't want you to. repair stuff. They want you to throw it away and buy another one. Waste and churn economy is what that's called. You know, waste it and turn it over and buy new stuff. But we're not going to do that. We are going to fix this sucker. Now, you got to get this thing out. There's this little clip here that's holding it on. So we're just going to, it's stuck down here. Take this clip off and out comes the shoe. Or I'm sorry, the brush. Get that brush out of there. Okay. So now I've got the shoe out here. Or the brush. And so the question is okay, how do I buy another one of these? Well, first you need to know the size. For that, you're going to need this nifty, a micrometer. Because these things are generally measured in millimeters. They can be measured in the standard system with the inch system, but there'll be stuff like 8 9/64s or 5 32nds. Most of them come in a millimeter. Okay, so I'm going to measure here, and this is telling me that I've got 5 millimeters thick by, and now I have to measure the that's the thickness of it, and then the height of it. It's hard to do this with one hand here, but, and 7 millimeters tall. So 5 millimeters thick, 7 millimeters tall. Now I don't really know how long it needs to be, but I can take this one and shove it back up in there and kind of see where the spring's at. Okay, so I can see that it goes to there, and then measure all the way out to the this one didn't wear off quite as much, so I can see how much compact spring it's, and then I can measure that, and it's about 15 millimeters, so as long as I can get something around 15 millimeters, I should get full depth here. So you take that information, we've got 5.5 or 5 millimeters by 7 millimeters by 15 millimeters, and you go on the internet and you look for electric motor brushes. And there's a lot of websites out there that have different brushes. Amazon.com actually has quite a few of them for sale, because a lot of dealers sell through Amazon.com. So if you go to Amazon.com, type in electric motor brushes, carbon brushes, these are made out of carbon, you're going to come up with a whole bunch. Now, trying to find the right one might take you longer to actually do, or far longer than actually repairing the motor itself. Now, I've already done that, and the truth is after several hours of searching, I actually was unable to find the appropriate carbon brush for my my electric motor. I just could not find one that met this criteria. So what does that mean? It means it can't be fixed? No. It just takes a little ingenuity. Now, this one is a unique brush because it has what's called a side shunt. Most carbon brushes you'll find have the shunt coming out of the back of them. Very few of them have the shunt coming out of the side, and that's where I fell flat. I could not find one that came out of the side there. So I had to go with what was close, which was one that came out of the that came out of the back. Got to get this thing off now. It's pretty simple little copper clamp, so I don't think it should be that much of a problem. We'll just bend this up here a little bit and kind of give her a little squeeze to spread it out a little bit, and she come off. All I did was just squeeze it the opposite way it had been crimped, and it released for me. Once I get this all done, I'll do that side and file it down, come back, and we'll put her back together. Okay, so we've got, this is the shoe we need, but it's the one I bought is not the right size. This is just a tad bit thicker. It's the same height, but it's just, this is a 6 by 7 millimeter and this is a 5 by 7 millimeter, and I couldn't find one in that size, so I ordered one that's 6 millimeter. And again, we've got the shunt, the copper shunt coming out the back, and this shunt coming out the side. So, but we're going to make this work, and it's going to work just fine. What I'm first going to do is I'm going to cut off this little adapter here that was made by some other motor. I'm going to cut that off there. Alright, so that's out of there. This spring's too big, so we're getting rid of it. These are the original springs here. Okay, so now how do we make this work? How does this one end up this way? Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my micrometer here, and I'm going to go ahead and get the width of the original. So I've got it the same width. So it's sliding there, okay? Now I have that. Now watch. It won't go on there, okay? So what I'm going to do is take a file. A file works best because it's flat, and you really want this to stay flat here. Okay, you don't want to like file here or with a piece of sandpaper. You could use a piece of sandpaper, especially if you put it on something flat and rigid, so that you can keep your even, as you sand, you're sanding the even depth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. This is kind of messy, this carbon stuff. Got to knock this out occasionally. And I'm going to slide this. Whoops. It's hard to hold on to. But you want even pressure. And you want to file evenly. Just like that. Now it's going to take a little bit, because although it does appear to be taking off a lot, really not cutting it down that much. I'll file on both sides, kind of try to keep it even as far as its size there. Just trying to keep it flat. But double check, triple check. Saves you time down the road, because if this little shoe or brush, if it catches up inside there, it's going to be not good. Your motor is going to constantly be quitting on you and not running. Okay. Let's try this one more time here. Get that thing sticking up. Still tight. My micrometer is moving on me. Alright. Alright, now, see, now we got this thing right. Look at that. We want smooth flow. Okay, so now what I need to do is go ahead and use this tiny little crimp here. Now remember, when I took the crimp off, I just squeezed the crimp long ways. This camera may not be able to pick it up. This is small stuff. Need almost a macro camera to see it. I don't know if you can see it there. I'll try to get you a white background. You can see it's long. I just squeezed it. The short ways, the thickness is where it's crimped. I just squeezed it the long ways, and it kind of opened it up enough for me to get that off. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and got this brush made here. I'm going to put it on there. And what we're going to do is just slide that back onto that wire there. Okay. And keeping them both in there, I'm going to go ahead and just squeeze this sucker back on. Not quite. Now you want to make sure that this is good and tight here. There's probably a special tool for doing it. Okay. Got that on there. Again, I'm telling you, this is not a professional job. This is me fixing a motor that was supposed to be thrown away. I'm not saying I'm a professional. I'm not saying that everybody should follow my example. Just saying, if you got a broken motor, you might as well try to fix it. It don't cost a whole lot. And if you ruin it in the end, you're not out anything. You're still going to have to buy a new motor. Now looky there. Ain't that sweet? Now what I'm seeing as a problem is it's too long. Okay? So it's quite a bit too long. It needs to come back. It's got to have, let me see how much space I need. Again, this is, get you one of these little micrometers here. I'm going to measure the arbiter there. And no, I'm not talking about the Halo arbiter. Okay, for those that played that video game, I'm talking about the arbiter in here. And if I'm using the wrong name, I'm sure there's some, it's what I've always called it. I'm sure there's some real electronics technicians, motor technicians out there will tell me. See, now it's got, these shoes can't be any wider than this right here. You can see that's way past. Assuming the other shoe is in here, or the brush is on the other side, it's got to come off, oh, a good 1/8 of an inch there. Probably should have done that before I put it in there and crimped it on, but we are where we're at. So what I'm going to do is just wear that off with my file until I get it back to where it needs to be, and then we'll go ahead and put it in there. Okay, so I've got my brushes in, got the springs in, everything's there, ready to go. You notice that the brushes are not going forward by the springs. Well, it took me a little while to figure out how to do this because if those brushes go forward, they fall out and there's no way to get it over the arbiter in here. So I kind of went through different ways. What I finally figured out is it takes like some toothpicks. I'm just using some little twigs, and I've got it rammed up in there to keep them brushes from going forward. And now I'm going to put it on, and once it's over the arbiter, I can just pull those, let's call them stick keeps. They're keeping the brushes back. Got to get it lined up here. For some reason it's not wanting to go on. Let's see what's going on here. Should go on. I think one of the brushes came forward just a little bit. Reach up in there. There we go. Now it's on. Alright, so whoa. It's on there. Now I'm going to pull these out. Let the brushes slide forward. Now the brushes are on the arbiter. Okay. So now we're going to put it back together. This little washer goes on here. Goes up in there. This bushing seat goes there. On goes the bushing. Little brass bushing there. Okay. And then go ahead and use this. Line that up on that. Make sure we get that lined up. So you look at your picture now and I'm going to line this bolt up over here. It should be right about there somewhere. Got to find the thread. It's in there somewhere. There we go. Alright, so that's there. Now we got to put our ground wire on here. Run this bolt in. Get it lined up. Good. And let's see here. So it's a little bit of work, but if you're like me, I don't think that's on the right spot there. Let me take that out. That should go in smoothly. It's not doing that. Ain't quite got it lined up yet. Alright. There we go. That's it. I had it in the wrong spot. Got to feel your way through this. Okay, so we're back together. Now the moment of truth. The moment we have all been waiting for. Will it work? Yeah, let me walk over here and we're going to plug her in and see if we've got a motor. And what do you know? Working just fine. Going around in circles. So there you have it. Not pretty. I'm not going to say it's pretty. But again, I've never done that before. You walked through this whole process with me as I have learned myself how to do this and how to fix a $200 water pump without having to buy it by buying things. You know, there's the original brushes. And now I don't have to buy another one. Let's say that last 6-7 months I'll buy me some more brushes. Maybe next time I'll try to find the ones with the side shunt. I did look considerably. I couldn't find them. I've never done this before. You have watched me learn doing this. So what's this video about? It's about adventure. It's about saying I'm not going to give in to the waste and churn economy. I'm not just going to buy something new because something old broke. I'm going to jump into unfamiliar waters. I'm going to do things that I've never done before because I can do it. One of my lifelong philosophies that has guided me throughout the years is if somebody else figured out how to do it, I can too, because I am a human being and God gave me the same brain He gave everybody else. And so if somebody else has figured it out, I can figure that out. So when I look at something like this that I have no familiarity with, I've never opened it up before, when I look at it as another human being made this. They used their brain and they made it. So if they did it, I should be able to look at what they did and figure out how to fix it and how it works. Now, you know, there are a lot of things like complex, like smartphones, that probably wouldn't apply to. You know, I probably couldn't solder a circuit board on, especially with these big old sausages. But the point is that you can do more than you think if you just give yourself the opportunity to try. Get in there, you know, be safe. Obviously unplug it before you start working on it. Common sense applies here. But you just watch me fix this motor with parts that I ordered and a few basic tools. It's a messy job. I got that stupid carbon dust everywhere. Probably die of lung cancer later on or something due to this. But anyways, you know, that's how it can be done. Just the Jungle Explorer here, I'm just trying to teach you how to be creative and ingenuitive on fixing things, save yourself some money. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful to you. I hope it's encouraged you to step out into the unknown and try new things. You never know what you can do unless you try. And at the end of the day, if I didn't end up fixing this motor, well, I would have had to buy a new one anyway. So why not experiment? Why not be adventurous? So here's the Jungle Explorer saying, go out, be adventurous, step in the unknown. And if you've liked this video, if it's helped you out, if it's encouraged you, I'd appreciate it if you give me a like and maybe share it. But definitely subscribe, because you never know when I'm going to try some new crazy thing I've never done before. So subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Until next time, Jungle Explorer signing out.